Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Hey, it's the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston here with a kind-hearted woman named Christy, who has agreed to share this time with you so that you can benefit from her experience and strength and wisdom and observations and insights, as well as her trials and tribulations and stumbles and falls. Right, Christy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you tell me a little bit about your story and then what happened?
I grew up in a household with two very obese parents. They were always trying to lose weight. I watched both of them lose 100 pounds multiple times just to gain it all back. I started gaining weight when I was about a junior in high school. I got married right out of high school and had to special order a size 18 wedding dress. And I just kept gaining just little bits over the years. I had a couple of kids and my weight just continued to climb. I was a big yo-yo dieter. So it was like I was just on this roller coaster of I need to lose weight. So let's research what kind of diet I'm going to start, find the diet. Then you need a couple of weeks to prepare. And then you throw out every food in the house that doesn't comply. Then you start the diet and maybe you're on it for a week, maybe a day, and then you just give up. So then it would be eat everything in sight before you start and then eat everything in sight after you quit until you get to the point where it's like, oh, I need to lose weight. And then the whole thing would just start over again. And that just happened over and over and over. In 2009, I decided to have lap band weight loss surgery. I lost about 30 pounds with that and then no more. And then I gained all of that back and it just went from there. And then in 2017, I decided to have gastric bypass done. That was a really big decision and it's a very powerful tool, but I didn't have surgery on my brain. I lost about 100 pounds in the first year and then another 50 over the next year. In 2019, I had skin removal surgery done. They took 8 pounds of skin off of my stomach. And then they actually did like a 360-degree cut around my whole body and they did a back lift. I've had many surgeries and then I started to gain weight. I watched an episode of My 600-Pound Life and the woman on there had had gastric bypass done. And when I saw that episode, I knew in my heart that that could be me, that I could gain back all the weight that I had lost. My high was about 280. I got down to 126 for probably about 5 minutes and then started gaining and I panicked. Tried all the same diet gimmicks that had never worked for me before, which was really stupid, but I didn't know what else to do. Then I actually joined the Facebook group without having read the book. I started hearing people talk about pigs and I didn't like that. I was like offended by that. And so I got out of the Facebook group. And then one day in my Amazon feed, the book came up and it was free. And I was like, okay, I might as well try it and got the book. And then I understood the whole thing about the pig. It's been like a miracle. It's just changed everything for me. And I'm so thankful. I've lost 17 pounds. I had gotten up to 165. And so I'm down 17 pounds from there. So I have less than 10 pounds to go. And I just lose little bits here and there. And I'm totally fine with that. It's really changed everything. And I can't thank you enough.
How did it change things? What did you do and what changed?
I think realizing that the pig existed was the first big aha. And that while it was part of me, I could also separate myself from it and realize that it wanted nothing good for me and that I had been listening to it my whole life. There was a lot of all or nothing thinking that came along with that. And I knew that the all or nothing thinking didn't serve me well, but I didn't know how to stop it. When I found the book and read the book, we were getting ready to go on vacation. And I decided that I was going to join the intensive, but not before I went on vacation. And so I decided that I was going to try it out in another way. And this is silly, but it was a good way for me to kind of test the waters. I had always struggled with being consistent with, of all things, flossing and using mouthwash. Like, of course, I always would brush my teeth several times a day, but the other, I always struggled with doing it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to test this out. So I made a rule and I said, I am going to brush, floss, and mouthwash twice a day unless I am sick and throwing up. And if I have any thoughts or anything against doing that, I'm going to know that that is the pig talking and I'm going to ignore it or whatever. I didn't really understand about the refutations at that point. And that was September 1st of 2021. And I have not missed one time since then. So I knew at that point when that was working that this was going to be something that I could do with food. We got home from vacation and I immediately jumped in, even though the intensive wasn't starting for another week. Getting rid of the all or nothing thinking was big. And I know that that kind of seems like breaking the rules, I guess. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well. I knew that if everything wasn't perfect, that I didn't have to throw in the towel completely, and that
Right.
in the long run, I was still going to see a lot of forward momentum.
Yeah, you want to commit with perfection, but forgive yourself with dignity.
Yeah,
It's like the Olympic archer aiming at the target. You have to purge your mind of all the doubt and insecurity by really becoming one with the bullseye when you're shooting at it. But if you miss it, you just figure out by how much, in what direction, what went wrong, and you get up and you aim again with perfection.
that's totally it. And really, the funny thing is that I haven't broken any of my food rules since I started the intensive, but it's just knowing, I guess maybe not expecting myself to be perfect kind of allowed me to be, because the pressure wasn't there anymore like it was before.
What happens is that if you divide the world into two types of experiences, the kinds of experiences you have when you're aiming at a goal and the kinds of experiences you have when you've made a mistake and have to make a correction, there's an energy in perfectionism that can either be used for or against you. If you commit with perfection but forgive yourself with dignity when you make a mistake, then you're using the energy of perfectionism in your favor. But the pig wants you to do just the opposite. It wants you to make a very wishy-washy commitment and then torture yourself if you make a mistake. It'll say, you can't know for sure that you're going to hit the bullseye. You can't purge your mind of doubt and insecurity. You're probably going to bitch in the future. So progress, not perfection. Just kind of sort of aim at a fuzzy target. We'll see how you do, right? And then if you make a mistake, it says, oh my God, you're pathetic. And if you can't hit the target, then you're nothing. And you might as well just keep on eating throughout the day and binging on whatever you want to. We'll start again tomorrow. So it's not really that we are relinquishing perfectionism as a strategy. We're reversing the application of perfectionism in our favor, recognizing that the pig had us using it against ourselves all this time. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
Yeah. So that was an interesting strategy you had to start with a non-food rule. By the way, I had trouble flossing my teeth also, and I eventually made a rule that I was going to only floss my top teeth on odd numbered days and my bottom teeth on even numbered days. My top numbered days, I'd say, screw my bottom teeth, and my odd numbered days, I'd do the other way around.
Oh, that is so funny.
But eventually I just said, okay, I can do this. And then I just sort of flossed my teeth all the time. Why do you think that worked for you as opposed to a food rule first? Why was that important?
I think it was just a way for me to ease into it, a way for me to just kind of test the waters, kind of see if I could just stick with something. I mean, because I had just tried and failed to stick with really anything
Got
for
it.
most of my adult life. And so I just needed that little bit of confidence to be like, yes, you can do this. And once that stuck, oh my goodness, lots of other things that are not food related, I've used these principles for, and of course, the food as well. So I feel like I am just in a place where I could just accomplish anything I set my mind to at this point. It's a whole different world.
When you feel like you've beaten your worst enemy, then there's nothing stopping you, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes, that is a really good way to sum it up because this has been a fight for me, an exhausting fight. I had my insides rearranged trying to win this battle. I only wish that I had found you before I did that. It served a purpose. It was a powerful tool that helped me, but it would have been nice if I wouldn't have had to go to that drastic of a measure.
I wish I found it in my 20s instead of my 40s. No, the pig is the worst enemy we ever face. I've gone through near bankruptcy. I was in a really bad car accident. I've lost countless people in my life. I've had good friends that committed suicide. And there's nothing worse. There was nothing harder than beating the pig. When you beat the pig, you feel like you could accomplish anything.
It's a wonderful feeling.
Is there anything you would like the audience to know about how you did it, or if they have certain fears about money or time, or maybe they won't be able to do it? It works for other people, not for them. I think that you want people to know who are listening so they feel like they can actually do this.
I was nervous about spending the money on the intensive at first as well. And really, it was the best money that I've ever spent. It was just an investment in myself. And like I've said, that it's changed everything and taught me the skills to once and for all beat the worst enemy that I've ever had. I mean, you can't even put a dollar amount on that. I know from this point on that I am not going to have to worry about gaining all of the weight back that I worked so hard to lose. So much of my brain energy doesn't have to go for that anymore. And it's not that I don't have to still think about it. I do plan out a menu every week. I plan workouts and different things like that. But the amount of brain energy that I was spending being in that yo-yo dieting cycle was just exhausting. So not having to do that anymore is just worth way more money than I would have ever spent on the intensive. And just the time, I just looked at it like time invested in myself. I mean, just like me time. Everybody's talking like, oh, I need me time. So that's just how I looked at it. Like this was an investment in myself. It's just been worth it. I wanted to just mention quickly about the troubling squeals that I heard.
Oh, great.
Like the time machine squeal was the biggest one in varying forms that were constantly being thrown at me.
For example?
This party, this vacation, this holiday, you're never going to be able to follow the rules that you've set for yourself. So you might as well just give up now. You've always failed in the past. You're not going to be successful now, so you might as well give up. Or even you might have lost the weight, but you're going to gain it back, so you might as well just give up now. I listened to a lot of the other recordings where you talked about that the pig doesn't have a time machine. It has no idea what I will or won't do in the future. And just because I've been driving down the highway on a certain road for however long doesn't mean that I can't choose to get off at whatever exit I want to get off on. And so I just would refute and refute and refute. And now I recognize. And it's so funny how I just allowed that to control my life for so long, because it's almost comical now when these squeals come up. I just want to be like, really? You really think I'm going to fall for that? I mean, I did for so long, but it's just so wonderful to not have to fall for that anymore. It's freedom is what it is. It's freedom.
Beautiful. Is there anything that I should have asked you, Christy, that I didn't ask you?
I really just want to encourage people, I guess, who may be considering weight loss surgery, or maybe they've had it and they're starting to gain and they're panicking like I did. I mean, to get to the point where you have weight loss surgery is such a huge decision to get to, and you're pretty desperate. And I even tell people, like, if they would have told me before my surgery, well, while we have you into the OR, we've got a new thing and we need to cut your arm off while we're in there. Is that okay? I would have said absolutely, because I was so miserable in my own skin that I didn't care what they had to do. So I have a real heart for people who are in that desperation. So I guess I just would want to let people know that are maybe thinking about it or they've had it and they're gaining. It's not too late. First of all, I think that you can be successful without having weight loss surgery, because you have to change everything about your diet anyway. And then even if you have already had it and you're finding yourself gaining, you can stop it. It doesn't matter what you've gained, you can stop it and you can turn it around. I really just want to encourage those people that there is a solution and you don't just have to gain all the weight back and feel like there's nothing you can do about it.
Beautiful. And how wonderful that someone who's been through it and figured out a solution for herself can get up and share what's possible. And the book is free. The book is free. You can try this for free. And I'm not allowed to go against the medical advice of any doctor. So there's my legal CYA disclaimer.
Right.
But I don't think any doctor would object to you reading a free book before you went through this. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you for talking to me. I hope it helps somebody, even one person. That would be amazing.
It's going to help thousands of people. We have an audience of people in gastric bypass centers, and we actually have some contact with gastric bypass centers that are now teaching to their clients before they opt for the surgery.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, we've been thinking about trying to formalize that effort and see if we can get some of the big clinics around the country to do it. So,
oh my gosh, how amazing is that?
Yeah, I live a charmed life now. I don't have anywhere near the money that I used to have, but I live a charmed life. I get to do these incredible things. And now you're part of it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Kristen.
Thank you so much. Anytime. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.